to win things with players, in my opinion, it's no use having really decent players if they never turn up. So I deliberately rank. Everyone gets their individual stats, but it's deliberately ranked by the number of times they've turned up to training. Because obviously, if you want a team to do well, you need players that are training a lot. You need players that are turning up for matches. So this is the main stat that it's ranked on. At this one, we do. Have you ever used plus minus analysis?
No.
So if you only use it for a few matches, it's not very good. But if you do it over a season, then it's quite useful. So if you were on the court when we scored a goal, you get a 1 in your plus column. And if you were on the court when you conceded, you get a minus. So if we take Ares as probably the best example. So we scored 184 goals last season, and he was on the court for 132 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's quite a significant player. And again, you've got to be careful because if you look at just the stats, he's got one of the highest scores for goals conceded. But to be fair, he was probably on the court a lot more. So we conceded 80, and he's got 47 in that minus column. So you've got to treat it in context. But that's kind of a high level overview of our stats. But you can do a deep dive if you want to. The other thing I'm looking at this season as well is this column, which is it's all about being organised. We'll do well if we're just organised. So these are players that are dropping out. These are a number of times people are dropping out the same day as training because that really pisses us around as a team. Like if you've got a session that evening, people are dropping out an hour before the session, or people that are not showing up, or the worst one is when everyone tells you they're available for a match and you put out your match squad. So let's say we pick 12 players. We're automatically going to piss off about 10 players that weren't picked. And then if one of the players that's picked for the match then says, "Oh, I'm not available after all," that's like that's dropping out of the selection. And that's not good for the team because then we have to go back to somebody that's been dropped and say, "Oh, by the way, we do want you now." and they're kind of well within the rights to say, "Well, do want."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the stats that we are tracking. And again, when we're planning, if we've got a player that's constantly dropping out last minute, they're not going to get picked for match day on the basis that how do we know they're not going to drop out on match day? So they're sort of like the high level stats. What do they all mean? So what we'll do here, we'll run through what each of the columns are with a few examples as well. Which got me thinking about that. So first of all, we'll cover the problem with stats. We'll briefly talk about where I first came across the packing metric,